So before we actually get into today's video, I want to talk to you guys about JerseyFIFA.com, because as you can see, they have hooked me up with a load of fresh shirts for this year's World Cup. I've got the England home kit, the England away kit, and also a nice little retro shirt. And you can do exactly the same if you head to JerseyFIFA.com using the link in the description down below. They also do the same for club football as well. The latest home shirts, away shirts, but also some really nice retro kits. If you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and use code JerseyFIFA for a discount when you order. Now into the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel and the Scouting for Manchester United series, where today we have a familiar face on screen, Jurrien Timber. Now, today we're going to be looking at some of his strengths and weaknesses as a player, and discussing whether or not Manchester United should be targeting him, and if United were to sign him, where he would fit into the team. Now, Jurrien Timber is of course a player that was heavily linked with a move to United last summer, and at one point it looked really close to going through. I think it will still happen. We know that Erik ten Hag is a big fan of this young man. He rates him very highly. He's spoken about his leadership qualities in the past, spoken about the fact that he could become a future captain for various different clubs and the national team. Jurrien Timber's a really good young player. Ten Hag likes him a lot. So I want to talk about today whether or not Manchester United should be looking at him. Now, he's currently 21 years old, so of course anything we look at today, this is just the start of his career. He has plenty of time to develop, especially as a defender. I think defenders tend to develop into their prime perhaps slightly later than what some other positions do. And yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. 21 years old, stands at about 5'10". Now, unfortunately, yes, that does mean that if he was to sign, we're going to hear about it all over again, that a player is too short to play centre-back in the Premier League. We heard it with Lisandro Martinez, and that was proven wrong. Let's see if the same thing could happen with Jurrien Timber, or if he could perhaps play a slightly different position. But first, let's look at his strengths as a player, and for me, playing in an Ajax side which thrived so well under Erik ten Hag for a couple of seasons, it's going to be clear what his strengths are. That is his play on the ball. And his progressive metrics are just off the charts here. 99th percentile for pass completion, progressive passes, the 97th percentile for dribbles completed, 97th percentile for touches in the attacking penalty area, 97th percentile for passes attempted, 96th percentile for shot creating actions, 97th percentile for assists. This is a guy who we class as a defender, however, majority of the work that he does is with the ball at his feet. And that is what we expect from a player playing at a so-called top club. Now, you will look at the defensive metrics down there and say perhaps they don't look so good, with only the tackles ranking particularly well. But the reason for that is you have to consider the fact that Ajax have a lot of possession. If I'm a defender in a side that has 30% of the ball, I have more opportunities to defend, so I'm naturally going to make more tackles, more interceptions, more blocks. Whereas with Ajax, Timber is playing in a side that have a lot of the ball, so his defensive metrics are lower simply because he doesn't do as much defending. So don't worry about that too much, but we can see his real strength here is on the ball, and his passing in particular is just incredible. His short and medium long range passing, the way that he's ranking in these areas, is actually just ridiculous. Like, for a defender to be doing these numbers is a joke. His long passing isn't something that he uses as often. He doesn't attempt too many long passes per game, ranking in the 3rd percentile for passes attempted with longer ranging passing. However, the pass completion in that aspect is still the 82nd percentile, so although he doesn't do it too often, he still does it well when he does do it. But total passing distance up the top here is what I'm really interested in, the 94th percentile. And progressive passing distance, the 79th percentile, and again that pass completion ranking in the 99th. This is a player who is really good on the ball, and like I said, Ajax are a team that dominate possession, so it is very important that he is comfortable on the ball. We can see here, he is regularly pushing forward into the opposition's half, kind of helping Ajax to get in their set position, to contain and dominate possession. Jurrien Timber plays a big part in that, and we can see that he even often moves kind of to his right wing a little bit, and that is something that I want to come back to in just a second. Because whilst Jurrien Timber is a wonderfully gifted player, he is brilliantly tenacious off the ball, he's incredibly hard working, he's got a lot of speed, his reading of the game on the counter-attack in particular is excellent. There is one concern, and unfortunately it is his height. And now, especially when you consider that if he was to sign, he would play alongside Lisandro Martinez. Yes, the two of them work together well at Ajax. The Premier League physically is slightly different, especially since last summer. There's now a lot more tall strikers in the Premier League, with the likes of Gianluca Scamacca, even Weghorst for United, Haaland, Darwin Núñez. There's a lot of big strikers in the league at the moment. I think this centre-back duo might be a little bit too short to really work. Now, like I said, that is a little bit harsh on Timber, because as a defender, he's very sound fundamentally. His 1 versus 1 situation is very, very good. Like I said already, his reading of the play is brilliant, especially for a 21-year-old. Normally the reading of the game and the understanding is something which comes with greater age and experience, so the fact that he has that already is very impressive. We know all about his pace. However, there is one downside to his defensive performance, and that is his aggression almost. He is a very front-footed defender, and because of his recovery pace, a lot of the times he can kind of cover himself if he gets it wrong. However, I do just wonder, playing centre-back with Lisandro Martinez, if he's always being aggressive, is he going to get caught out a little bit? It's almost high risk, high reward the way that he defends. Now, for a couple of those reasons that I was saying there, I don't think Timber should be signed to play at centre-back for Manchester United. However, if we go back to his heat map, he can play to the right-hand side, and this is where I think he could really be useful for United. I think Jurrien Timber signing as a right-back could be a stroke of genius. For me, it is something that I would really be looking at. I often rank kind of players' positions. This is right up there as something that United should really be considering. United should very much consider signing Timber to play at right back. If this was the case, we know that he is going to help the side play out from the press. He is excellent on the ball. His technical ability is second to none in terms of defenders in world football. This guy dribbles like a winger at times. It's genuinely a joke. And if he can play at right back, that is going to help Manchester United play out from the press because of that press resistance. United don't have too many players who can take responsibility of the ball and say, okay, let me deal with this, I'm going to turn and get us out of pressure. Jurrien Timber playing at right back would be very good at doing that, and that would obviously help United get out of the press and then move forward. Something else that could work as well with the fact that Timber actually is naturally a centre-back is a rotation with Rafa Varane. Now, something that we've seen United using as a weapon when pressed recently is an underlapping run from Rafa Varane. So let's say the ball goes wide to the fullback here. Let's put Dallo in just for this situation, because that's who it's been at the moment. The opposition winger will come press, and then we see the opposition striker move across onto Rafa Varane. What Varane has been doing well recently is then stepping forward, dragging the player, which then just creates a free pass to Lisandro Martinez or to David De Gea. It's a very simple movement, but with perhaps Jurrien Timber coming into the side, that is certainly something that he could take advantage of. And the two of them could almost swap, with Varane stepping forward and then Jurrien Timber coming inside with the ball and then either playing forward, playing sideways, or doing whatever really. It's just a little rotation that could work quite nicely, and like I said, this guy's technical ability is absolutely phenomenal. Now, we can't use too many of these clips for copyright reasons, but we can just see here how good Timber is at getting the ball, taking responsibility, drawing players in, and then beating them with his dribble. The way that he turns on the ball genuinely is almost winger-like, and I think it's unrivaled defenders across Europe. I think he is the best defender in Europe when it comes to dribbling with the ball at his feet. So again, kind of slotting that into a right-back position, it really does make sense. It is something that he could do to again relieve pressure from United's defence when they are being faced with a high press from the opposition basically. Signing a player like Timber is going to massively help United work the ball out from the back and move forward, which means they will control possession more than what they do currently. And from here, of course, Timber once again has a big role to play. He is very good on the ball, and being a natural centre-back, it almost makes sense for him to, rather than playing right back who overlaps and whips loads of crosses into the box, playing as more of an inverted fullback, either in a 3-2 system like this, or in more of a 2-3 system with Christian Eriksen dropping deeper on the left-hand side, or potentially a different midfielder that gets signed. However, personally, I would go for this 3-2 shape. I think it gives United quite a nice base to build from. This back three with Varane in the middle gives Timber the licence to step forward and carry the ball forward and progress the play, but also gets more out of Lisandro Martinez. Lisandro Martinez was very progressive in the way that he played with Ajax. Now, we've seen glimpses of it at United, not to the same extent though, so potentially moving to more of a back three shape like this would give Lisandro Martinez more of that ability to step forward with the ball, playing on the left-hand side, whilst Timber does the same on the right. And again, we just have to go to his passing FBref report. We can see how good he is if he's stepping into these areas. His progressive passes, his pass completion, his progressive passing distance, his total passing distance, he ranks incredibly well in all of these areas, and he is a player that would allow United to get the ball moving forward through the lines, and also the fact that he's tucking in from the right does mean that Luke Shaw can bomb forward down the left, Rashford can come inside, Bruno Fernandes can shift across, and it gives United a greater balance in terms of their overall shape. Timber really could be super effective in a lot of ways. Now, from this area, I'm not going to ask him to bomb forward too much. Yes, he does have the ability to dribble and step forward, but he's not really going to be a massive attacking threat in the final third. He isn't great at crossing, which is to be expected from a player that's played centre-back so much. However, it's his progressive passing which really could be very, very useful to this United team. His ability to get the ball forward through the lines, especially against a low block. That ability to find someone like Bruno Fernandes in this pocket here, between two players, that is going to drastically improve Manchester United's ability on the ball and their ability to break down low defences or even mid-blocks as well. We have an example of Jurrien Timber's passing here. Here he gets the ball and plays a ridiculously good pass through the lines, which takes out several players. Playing like this, it allows him to take out 2 of these opposition defenders here, and it all comes because of Jurrien Timber's brilliant passing ability on the ball. One pass here and it completely takes out this opposition defence. They're completely taken out of the game just from one pass through the lines. That is the sort of thing that Timber is going to offer to United if he was to sign. Now, this sort of thing is not a one-off from Jurrien Timber, and thanks to using Once Video Analyzer Pro, we can look at more examples of this. And if you want to check it out in the description down below, this software, feel free to do so. There will be a link in the description. It allows you to do loads of stuff like highlighting players like Timber here, for example. It's just genuinely a really cool software to use, so make sure to check out the link in the description down below, because again it allows us to see Timber's ability to get the ball forward through the lines, and this particular pass is going to take out 3 opposition players, completely take out a whole line of the opposition's defensive structure, allowing his side to play forward, move forward, get the ball into more dangerous areas, from where his teammate, if they want to, can then carry the ball forward and really push forward with the ball. Again, it's a great side of Timber's game. He is brilliant at getting the ball forward and playing it through the lines, and if he's able to bring that to Manchester United, then that would be absolutely brilliant, because United do at times struggle to break down low blocks. There's at times an inability to get the ball forward into these pockets of space. We can see already that Timber is a player that will go some way to addressing that very problem. Of course, at the end of the day, Timber is a defender, so there are question marks over his defensive ability as well. And like I said quite early in the video, he is very aggressive with the way that he defends, which means that when United lose the ball, Timber is a player that will be happy to engage high to try and get into the counter press, which is something very important for United. And I actually think this suits him more from a right-back position than a centre-back position. When you're aggressive at centre-back, if you get it wrong, you leave a gaping hole in behind. Whereas if he does it from right-back, where he still has 2 centre-backs alongside him, it will allow him to commit a little bit even more. And of course, still have that recovery pace to get back in cover. So this again is something what he's ticking the box. United want to counter-press, Ten Hag wants his side to counter-press. Timber is going to be happy to squeeze up and try and force the opposition back, but also if the ball does then go the other way, he does have tremendous recovery pace. Once in these positions, I think he could improve his positioning when defending wide areas. His stance at times isn't quite right, however that is something that he can improve on. And actually in terms of ranking in 1 versus 1 defensive situations, he ranks in the high 90 percentiles, so he's certainly not bad at it by any means. I think he could improve, and I think he would under Ten Hag. But already he's very good at it. In terms of 1 versus 1 situations, he very rarely gets beaten. His kind of lack of height actually suits him in this situation, because he has that low centre of gravity, allowing him to twist and turn with the opposition winger, and then put a good slide tackle in. So, from a defensive point of view, again, I think he's very suited to playing right back. I do think that Jurrien Timber playing at right back for Manchester United would solve some real problems I've got. It improves him defensively in transition, because he can deal with the counter-attack with a combination of recovery pace, good reading of the game, and good tackling. It allows United to counter-press, squeezing high up the pitch, but then importantly in possession, it gives them more balance with this 3-2-5 shape, which could even become a 3-1-6 shape either way, but it gives them a greater balance. It also gives them ability to get the ball more moving forward through the lines, and of course the first thing that we were talking about earlier on was his ability to kind of take pressure on and relieve pressure for his side in defensive areas. His ability to play through the press is second to none when comparing to other defenders really. His press resistance is absolutely quality. Again, it's something that United currently struggle with. I think Timber adds something different, and I think basically what's clear to see is why Erik Ten Hag loves him so much. I really think United might go back in for this. Personally, I would be kind of testing Ajax in January. If United could bring Timber in now, give him 6 months, kind of till the end of the season to work in the squad, I think next season you would then really see him flourishing. I would be testing Ajax, putting a bid in and seeing, you know, how badly do they really want to keep him. Either way, I do think United will be back in for him, because I think Ten Hag has a plan, and I think it is to use him as a right back, inverting into the midfield at times or into a back 3, and I really like the balance of it. So yeah, in terms of my recommendation for this signing, it is something that I would really be looking at. I think he solves a lot of problems on the ball, but also out of possession. So yeah, it kind of gets a tick from me. I quite like the idea of it, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think this would be a good signing? Do you think he perhaps is too short to play kind of in the defence in the Premier League with Lisandro Martinez already being there? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Personally, I think he has a lot to offer, but let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you in the next one.